Masters Bangkok starts in about a week, and it's going to be one of the best Valorant tournaments ever, I think. Some of the teams here are just crazy good, and there's only 8 of them, so there's no bad teams, is basically what we're saying. Today we're going to be ranking them all, and it's going to be really hard because they're all really good. But let's get it started. Okay, we're starting here with possibly some people who think they think they're the best team at the tournament. G2, they've looked super hot in Americas. Coming out, they basically destroyed everyone, apart from Sentinels in the grand final. And all of their players look so good, but more importantly, their strats look insane as well. I think that's what really impressed people the most. You know, they had a team last year. It was pretty good. They got 3rd at Shanghai. I think people forget about that sometimes. But then they added Jorgamo. He looks great. It looks like the risks he's taking are really helping the team. And yeah, I love Leaf's chamber. Trent is my GOAT since day one. And I really think he's going to come into his own this year. Valen's a great IGL. And Jonah P is one of the best supporting players in the game. Full stop. This team, although they come out of Tier 2, you know, they were at the top of Tier 1 at the start of 2022. So, you know, this team, they are seriously good. And so I don't think people should underestimate them. But equally, I don't think people are underestimating them because they just look so good at kickoff. And their team was pretty good last year as well. So, for me, I'm going to put them... Now, this is not me putting them second. I'm going to wait to see who else is up there for me. And then we'll go from there, you know. I'm not sure where they're going to be, whether they're going to be top 1, top 2, but they're going to be around there for me. Sentinels. Now, I think Sentinels are a really good team. And they have a habit of just doing well and getting, you know, top 4 and just kind of taking the longest road possible to get to this place that they're eventually going to get to, but they do eventually make it. And this is kind of what they did with Kickoff, although it was a bit of a smoother ride, beating MIBR 3-1 in that lower final. And they did really impress me, especially in that game and in the finals. You know, people thought G2 were literally untouchable. Sentinels, they win 2 maps against them, and they look really good. I do really highly rate Zekken. Like, he is just... Bro's just cracked. John QT, also incredible. And if Zelsis plays like he did against MIBR, like, they could be insane. And I think this run at Bangkok will really depend on whether Narrate is frying. Because Narrate he's one of the best players for me. He could be one of the best players in the world. When he's frying, he's on a role he's comfortable with, and he's got that prelude to Chaos Vandal. He's insane. And so, I am going to put them in the playoffs. Now, I've not quite decided yet. I think they will go to the playoffs. Okay, DRX, T1, the 2 Pacific teams. For me, Pacifics probably look like the weakest region coming out of kickoff. Just because China obviously have the world champions. They've also looked really good. Trace have looked great, beat EDG, stomped EDG. You know, so, and Pacific, you know, DRX and T1 have played really close games against each other. They were great games. But I just don't know whether I really see them going super far in this tournament. Pacific, they did really well at Madrid last year. PRX 3rd, Gen G 2nd. But I just don't see that kind of flair coming out of DRX and T1. They're both really good teams. But with some of the competition, you know, we're looking down here. Some of these teams are crazy good. And so, for DRX, I love what they're doing with the Teho. I think freeing is great. I think Mako's an incredible IGL. He's still fragging as well, which, you know, you don't get from a lot of IGLs nowadays. And Hyunmin, he looks great. He looks better than I think anyone expected him to look. But for DRX, I'm going to put them top 5, 6. I think they will win a game. I think they definitely will win a game. I think it could even be like a DRX T1, you know, lower bracket playoffs type deal. And DRX will just take the win, as they have done the past 2 times in the kickoff tournament. But, you know, I think DRX will look good, but I don't think they're going to make it to the playoffs just because of how good some of these teams are. T1, I'm going to put 7th to 8th. They're good, right? They are really good. They've challenged DRX very closely. I just don't think that all 5 players on the team have that superstar potential, which we do have from some of these other teams, right? You have DRX, you got Freeing, Mako, Hyunmin, like all of these guys are insane. You look at G2, like all of them have their pop-off moments. T1, you know, I rate Buzz and Meteor insanely highly. But the other guys, you know, Izu's really good. I just don't know if he'll have that experience yet on the big stage. Carpe, he played really well when he came in kickoff. You know, I have to give that to him. I just don't know if he's going to be able to keep it up. If he does, they'll probably get second place again at this tournament because he always gets second place. But I just don't know if they have all 5 players that potential to really pop off. Like some of the other teams do here. We're looking at Vitality. We're looking at EDG, who are next up. And for me, EDG, I know people will say they lost the trace, they didn't look so good in kickoff, but once they looked good, man. And these are the world champions. You've got every player on this team is crazy. You've got Kang. Obviously, I don't even need to talk about him, but I'm going to because he's the GOAT. Broke the kill record in the Champions Grand Final. Don't forget that. He broke the kill record. He is crazy good. And, you know, even if a team had Kang and that was it, and that was their only good player, they would be a contender at any time. But no, we've got Chichu, the GOAT Sentinel. Okay, I don't know about the GOAT Sentinel, but he is crazy good. He's crazy good. Some of the smoke stuff, like the Astra plays he was pulling out at Champions on those Abyss maps against 11 Heretics, which is crazy. You've got Smoggy, who's just like, he's like a second coming of Kang, but more quiet. He's the GOAT. And, okay, look, I'm glazing. I know I'm glazing, but that's kind of the point. They're the world champions. We can't not glaze them. Also, they 13-0'd 2 teams on Haven. XLG, they 13-0'd XLG, and XLG are a good team, man. They could have gone to Bangkok. If they'd have beaten EDG, they probably would have done. No, instead they got 13-0'd. And so, EDG, they have the experience now. They have the experience of winning, and that's so important. And so, you know, I think, I've not decided yet. I've not decided quite yet. But, at the moment, I'm putting EDG near the top. Okay, Trace. I don't want to underrate Trace. I think Trace are really good. I just think, you know what? I'm changing it. Yes, I just thought about it. And Heybei's the GOAT. I do love Heybei, but I love this whole team. I think some of the comp innovations they came out with at Champs last year and during kickoff, you know, the Vice Deadlock on Bind, that was all Trace. Okay, maybe not all Trace, but it was a big part due to Trace. And they were playing the Deadlock on Bind even at Champs 2024. I think some of the comp things that they could come out with will be really interesting, catch teams off guard, especially when there's so few matches played at this tournament. There really isn't. You have 2 or 3 matches in the Swiss stage. You know, that's not a lot of games, and they could pull out some really interesting comps here. I think Fang is like an insane player. He's a bit like Jing and Forsaken. Kai and Fang are like, that's the kind of vibe I'm getting when Jing and Forsaken were both playing Duelist, except he can play Sentinel as well. So he's basically like Jing, but more Jing, but better. He's Jing, but better, you know? So I think I'm predicting the Trace miracle run. Look, they beat Lev last year. Lev got 3rd. I know they kind of lost out to EDG, and that definitely could happen again, but I think they're going to go on a bit of a run here. So I'm putting Trace in 3rd. You can, or maybe not 3rd, but their top 4, I'm putting Trace through to the playoffs. Okay, Vitality. I really desperately wanted this team to not do well, just because I'm not a big fan of the whole super team thing. I thought they were just doing too much. But they're really good, and I actually now really like them. Shout out to Bangovic, the GOAT. I love Vitality. Okay, I don't love Vitality, but I really like the way they play. Durka looks insane. I think some people doubted whether Durka was going to look this good, just because, you know, the system, he's coming out of Fnatic, he hasn't played in a different system before. Nah, this guy, he was always goated. He was, you know, he should be in contention, Kang, Aspas, Durka, in my opinion, for the top 3 kind of players, or at least duelists of all time. Durka is crazy good. And of course you have Les, who I think will get more back into his groove. He wasn't even playing like amazingly well at kickoff, and they still won the whole thing. So for me, Vitality, they're going to do well at this tournament. And just the international experience on this team as well. You've got obviously Durka and Les, but Safe's been to a few internationals, Trex has been to a few internationals, and Kix obviously went to Champs last year, so it's not like he's a rookie either. They just have excellent experience across the whole team, and their calling structure I really like. If you watch the comms videos, you'll see that Kix actually calls a lot of the micros when he's playing that Sky, when he's playing that Breach, and he's playing the Flash agents. He will actually call a lot of the micros for Durka, and that leaves Safe open to call some of the more bigger macro ideas. They're really leaning into people's strengths, and I think that's great. You'll notice I've left the spot open for Team Liquid here. Now, I like Team Liquid. I think Kiko is incredible. I think Patty a great support player, and I still think support players get underrated in this game. You think about Simon during Champs, you think about Patty during Shanghai, you think about Zelsis during Madrid. These are incredible support players, and they're all bringing their teams to the top level. However, I just think with the gap in... There's a few reasons. First reason is Kiko, Camo, Kamek, these type of players, they don't have the experience on the international stage. And I just think they might have, the same way they did when they came into kickoff, they might take some time to heat up, and I think that won't be great for them. So they might lose the first game just out of, kind of nerves, inexperience. And then they're probably going to be up against another good team in the lowers, maybe a DRX or a Sentinels if I've got it here. And when I say to you, Sentinels versus Liquid, Sentinels probably have the edge there. I think if Kiko keeps playing to his level, the level that he showed in kickoff, they definitely could do something. But I just think some of these teams are crazy good, and the experience thing is a big thing for me. So we're going to sort out this tier list now. I'm thinking this. It doesn't matter which order these teams are in, does it? Because they're just going to go out at the same time. The only real order that matters is these top 4. Now, I do think the rematch, the Trace versus Vitality rematch in the lowers of the playoffs would go crazy. And I think Vitality would take it. I think they are going to make it to that top 3. They're just so good. They are so good. And I think by this point, the demos of Trace will have come out and people have been able to watch and see what comps they're running, that kind of thing. So I really do think Vitality are going to do well at this tournament. So I would go with Vitality 3rd, Trace 4th, and G2 versus EDG. Now, what a banger final this would be. Literally strats versus just fragging. I'm joking. Of course EDG have strats. Of course G2 have fragging. I don't think EDG are going to win 2 trophies in a row. I think they're going to put up an incredible performance, and Kang is going to do insane in the grand final. But I think there has to be a factor of luck when you win a trophy. And for EDG to win 2 in a row, they would have to really seriously be the main characters. And of course they are, but I just think, I don't know. I think G2 are just looking crazy good at this point. No, I don't even believe this. I've been talking like this. I don't think G2 are going to win this tournament, but I don't think EDG are going to win this tournament either. I think Vitality are going to win this tournament. I was just talking just then, and I thought, actually, nah. But no, do I even believe that, though? I don't know if I even believe that. No, I don't think Vitality are going to win this tournament. But I don't think G2 are going to win this tournament either. But I also don't think EDG are going to win this tournament. But I don't think Trace are going to win this tournament. Oh, man. We've absolutely cooked ourselves here. And for that reason, I'm going to have to put EDG up first. I'm going to have to go ahead and do it. EDG, they're the world champions, man. I'm not going to doubt the world champions. 2 30-0s in a row. Don't forget that. And so I think that's going to be my final tier list. This is what I've got. No, this is what I've got. I want to see an EDG Vitality Grand Final. I think that would be crazy good. I think Vitality might have that kind of second place finish. Do a bit of a Gen G. Second place finish at the first tournament, fall off a bit, then come back. But I think they might come back strong for champions in Paris. And so that's what I'm going with. EDG win, Masters Bangkok, Vitality second in the Grand Final, and then G2 Vitality a lower final would go hard. And so that is what I'm going to go with. Let's lock it in on VLR. So I think I had G2, Vitality, Trace, and EDG coming out of the Swiss stage. Trace is a bit of a punt, but we're going to go with it. I did these the other day. Do I still believe this is how all of the games would go? Yes, I do. I do believe that's how the games would go. And there we have it. There's the tier list. EDG are winning Masters Bangkok. You heard it here first. With that, I've been Commend. Subscribe if you enjoyed, and thank you for watching.